Hello everyone, this is Raman and today we will talk about DevOps. DevOps is made up of two terms. Dev means development plus Ops means operation. When we consider the development of an application, then it includes planning, coding, building and testing of the application. Once the application is tested successfully, then operation teams work starts, which includes releasing of the application, deployment, operations, and monitoring. And there are different tools are available. DevOps is not the tool. DevOps is a practice or a process. But before DevOps, there are different methodologies are used for the software development lifecycle. One of them is the waterfall model. Waterfall model was first process model which was introduced. It is very simple to understand and use. If in the waterfall model, each phase must be completed before next phase can begin. So if you see in the diagram, there is a requirement analysis where we get the requirement from the customer, then system design, implementation, testing, deployment, maintenance. So the main drawback of this model was that once the application is in the testing stage, it is difficult to go back and change something that was not well thought out in the requirement. After that, there is an agile methodology. So agile software development is an approach of the software development under which requirements and solution evolve through the collaborative efforts of self-organizing and functional teams and the end user or customer. The main advantage of the agile model was that it welcomes the changing requirement even in the late development. Delivery working software frequently in weeks rather than months. Spending time more on coding than documentation. So here if you see the software development cycle for the agile, and agile methodology is very much used by the developers because they have iterative meeting with the customer. They show the output to the customer, take the input, and if any changes are required, they do the changes. So project requirement stories are converted into the stories, user stories, and user stories are further divided into the test cases, and test cases are the task which is developed by the developers. And instead of the huge task, the tasks are divided into the chunks, and developer develop the code and show the output to the customer, and customer gives the input. On the basis of that input, again it makes the coder makes the code changes. So this is the continuous iterations. So once the task is completed, again the iteration starts, where iteration planning meetings are there, and customer input, customer gives the input for that iteration planning meeting. Then DevOps starts. So what is DevOps? DevOps is the set of practice. So DevOps, it's a process. It is not tool. Okay, so DevOps is the set of practices which development and engineer participate together in the entire application lifecycle, from design, development, testing, and finally production support. DevOps is not a tool, it is an approach. It is a culture with objective SDLC by bringing developer and operation closer. It emphasizes communication, collaboration, integration between the developers and IT operations. When we say DevOps, so what is the DevOps for the different teams in the IT? So say an example for management point of view, DevOps is development and operation collaboration. From operation point of view, it is treating your infrastructure as a code, where we are developing some infrastructure with some code in the sense, say we are writing some configuration management code. For developer, it is a feature which we can turn on or turn off. For DevOps engineer, it is complete automation. For is DevOps is a small deployment. It is not huge amount of deployment, but it is in the form of chunks. DevOps and Agile. DevOps basically took the advantage of the Agile methodology. So it is built on the concept of Agile methodologies. It identifies the importance of extending Agile principle beyond development by including operation and all other functions that supports application development lifecycle. So up till uh, development, it is Agile. After that, it extended it. It is more than the convergence of development and operation. It is getting involved in all the phases of the software development, including governance, quality assurance, testing, security, release management. So there is a misconception for the DevOps, it is only for development and operation, but no, it is more than that. If we see the testing phase, if we see the security, configuration management, so all the things can be automated with the help of DevOps process. How DevOps basically works? DevOps starts from the development. When we get the requirement, the code, we start writing the code. So code is written in a very small chunks instead of the large builds. Then code is getting tested and we deploy it into the production. So deployment is not in months or weeks. It is mostly in the days or hours. So our production movement is very fast as compared to agile or waterfall model. The development environment, whatever we build, it is very much similar to the production environment. Rapid iteration improves speed to react the market needs. So because everything is very fast in hours, if we see in the second box. So if it is in hours, it means the changes which is required, it is very fast. Developing configuration management code to build the infrastructure at the scale. So because now everything is code, we are creating the infrastructure with the help of code. So it is more scalable. Real-time application performance monitoring to know the impact of each change makes. So the application monitoring is one of the feature where we see that how the application is performing. So we can get the feedback from the operation and the developer and other teams can work together. Why DevOps is adopted by the market? What are the main reasons? So there are few reasons by which everyone is looking for the DevOps process. There is a shorter development cycles and faster innovation. As we are keep discussing that it is in hours and it is very fast, rapid deployments. So definitely, yes, with the integrated operations and development teams, application can be developed and deployed much rapidly and get ability to innovate faster than the competitors do. Improve the communications and the collaboration. What happens now, because this is one unit we can say in the development DevOps, every teams are collaboratively working together. When they are working, their communication is good, and um, and when the teams trust each other, they can experiment and innovate the new things. Increase the efficiency and reduce the maintenance. So because most of the things are automatic, and when it is automatic, human intervention is very less. So with the help of the DevOps best practice, what we can do, we can make our deployment more predictable and free of bugs, and whatever the repetitive task we were doing without DevOps, that we can reduce. Reduce the deployment failure, rollbacks, less recovery. So because again this is automated and there are different artifacts are um, we measure the artifacts, so on the basis of that we move to productions. So deployment, because of DevOps, deployments are more targeted and isolated. Bugs are easier to spot in turn. Fixes are often faster and easier to implement. Eliminate downtime. So without DevOps, if our server is down or if we want to do some rollback, then we need some hours to uh, or we have some downtime where when the application is not available. But with the help, because it is all the automatic, so rollback process or the implementation process is very fast. DevOps implementation. So when someone says that, yes, I'm using the DevOps process for my project, then that project should have these 5 phases. So the phases are collaborative development or continuous development also, we can call it. Continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous delivery and deployment, continuous monitoring. So let us talk about collaborative development. In collaborative development, basically what happens, we are only talking about the developer's point of view. The developer plan and write the code, store it into some versioning control, like GitHub is one of the very popular tool in DevOps point of view. So before that, there were different centralized version controls were used, but now GitHub is the one which is very popular. So with the agile methodology, developers develops the code and move it into the version control. So that is called the collaborative development. Then continuous testing. So when we are talking about the testing, so there are different types of testing. There is a unit testing which developers does. There is a integration testing, and there is a performance testing, smoke testing. So there are different types of testings are there. So when you are saying that I'm using DevOps for the continuous testing, it means this is all automatic. There is very less human intervention or no human intervention is required. So say an example, a developer is writing a code and he or she wants to test it. Then that code is to be tested automatically. So for that, if you are doing the unit test, then JUnit for the Java developers, and if you want to do the integration testing, then we have Selenium. If you want to do the performance testing, we have HP load balance. So different tools are available. So tools does not matter. Means the tool which is helping us to do this continuous testing, we use that tool. So tools are not DevOps. For this DevOps process, we need some tools. So that is the concept behind it. When we are talking about the continuous integration, so continuous integration is something like that where when the developer is basically checking in the code and store it into some repository, and then there is a test happens. So there will be some test happens, and that test result comes back to the developer by saying that, okay, these many test cases are successful, these many test cases are failed. So this everything should be automatic. That concept is called the continuous integration, and in short form we call it CI. So in any job description, if you find that means DevOps engineer, and this is DevOps engineer should be knowing that continuous integration, then it means CI only. And this is very important concept, and it is a very important phase of the DevOps life cycle. If you see on the left hand side, there is the on the left hand side we see that there are some developers who are writing the code. So these are the developers, 3 developers, they are writing the code into the source control, which is our GitHub. And there is a trigger happens. Whenever the change happens, it should be built, it should be tested, and feedback goes back to the developer. So this thing is basically is called the continuous integration. And in most popular tool is the TeamCity and Jenkins. TeamCity is mostly used for the .NET developers, and Jenkins is in general or the Java developers or PHP developers. Okay. Now, next is the continuous delivery and continuous deployment. There is a difference between the delivery and deployment. The main difference is that in the delivery is saying that I'm ready to move. All the artifacts are done. Means I have done the testing automatically. God has developed the code, testing, build, everything is done. Now we need to move to production, and they need someone to approve it. So some manual intervention or the decision is required. Okay, so that is called continuous delivery. And when it is automatic, means it is moved to production after delivery, then it is called the deployment. So that is the main difference between delivery and deployment. Now, if you see this diagram, in this diagram, you can see that on the top, I'm defining what is the continuous delivery and other is what is continuous deployment. So here you see commit, test, integrate, acceptance testing. Up till here, it is continuous delivery. And it needs a manual intervention. So once it is done or once it is automatic, then it is deployed to production. All right. So for the continuous delivery and deployment, we use some of the configuration tools like Chef, Ansible, Puppet. So these are most popular tools in the DevOps process. Now next are the Docker and Kubernetes. So Docker is the open source tool which has been designed to create a small container on any machine. So it basically has the images. And Kubernetes is a powerful system for managing the containership applications. For the continuous monitoring, because in the end, when everything is moved to production or deployed, then we use the continuous monitoring. For that, Negius is the one of the popular tool which is used for the monitoring. So let us see in a summary that what was the old way and what is the new way. The old way is the code is into the production with the different phases: code, build, test, release, operate. But now the new way is that code is build, test, release, operate automatically, and it's a collaborative approach. Thank you very much.